Hi everyone, it's Rena and I'm here with a new tutorial for you today, and this is actually a special request from Karen, who's in our VIP Facebook group, and she found a tutorial by Diana over at Alagaina Scrap that she asked me to take a look at, and it's actually very fantastic. So the first project I'm going to be showing you is actually completely following Diana's tutorial. And then I have another project that I'll show you that I'll have a tutorial on for next week, and I think that you'll like that one also. So this project is going to be the three twist panel pop-up mini album. It's a lot to say, but I think that's what describes it the best. If you're not a member of my VIP Facebook group, I'd love for you to join. I will include all of the links below. And if you are in my VIP Facebook group, if you make this mini album, I definitely want to see all of your great projects and creations. I think that you'll have a lot of fun with it. Well, let's get to the tutorial. Okay, so this is the project that we're going to be making today. It is the Twist Pop-Up Panel Mini Album. This one right here is exactly like, except for the decorations of course, exactly like the tutorial that Diana did. And then I have another one to show you, a tutorial that I'm going to be doing for you next week. So this one has a belly band. It's closed with a belly band and you just slide it off. And then you start off and you open and you have a twist pop panel card. Cute, right? And then you have another twist pop panel card. And then you turn it over and you have one more twist pop panel card. So this is a project we're going to be doing today. I'm going to be showing you how to do the base of this, and you're going to be so surprised by how easy it is. I think that you're going to really like it as well. I think you'll find it very easy if you've already made a panel card, a twist pop panel card. I think that you'll be pleasantly surprised by how easy it is. I do have a couple tips for you. My recommendation would be to make one as a kind of like a mock-up, and then you can figure out how you want to put your paper on every time you make one. So for instance, to match all my papers, I used a mock-up so that way I wouldn't glue them down, but then I can use the same mock-up over and over again to just kind of layer things. And the only reason I suggest it is because it's so much easier to layer the paper when everything's flat before you put the mechanisms into place. But it's completely up to you. So this is the card we're making today, or this is the mini album we're making today. And I'm just going to put my belly band back on. This is the project we're going to be making next week, and I haven't finished it yet. I haven't embellished it up yet or anything, and I haven't added my closures yet either, so I haven't stuck it on or anything yet. But this is the 4-panel twist. I really haven't come up with a good name. I think I'm going to call it the 4-panel twist pop-up mini album, but we'll see. It may change. So here's your first one. And then you have a section with tabs and flaps, which I love. And then over here, you have a pocket. So I'm going to put a tag in here eventually. And then this opens over here to 2 more pockets. And right here, I just stuck in some ephemera so you could see the little pocket. And there's another one, of course, over here. Then you open this up. Oh. And you have another twist pop panel card, and then you open it and you have another flap. So lots of space for pictures, and I added little spots for journaling here, and another pocket over here. And then you turn this over. Here you have another twist pop-up panel, and then one more twist pop-up panel. So a ton of space for you to add pictures, journal, embellishments, keepsakes, all that kind of good stuff. I don't know if I'm going to do a belly band on this one yet, but you'll see next week. I do think what will be really cute is if you add ribbon on both sides, and then you'd have ribbon closures on both sides. That would be really cute. I may try to do that for the next one I make also. But this will be the tutorial for next week, so that should be a fun one also. So let's go ahead and get started. You're going to need just a couple of things. You're going to need 2 completed twist and pop-up panel cards. I just made the base, I didn't decorate them, but you'll need 2 of those for your mini album. And then you're going to need 2 pieces to create another mechanism. So these are the exact same pieces that we used to create this mechanism right here on the inside. So this is your 8 by 3.5 inches, and then you have your 10 by 3.5 inch. And then the only additional piece that you're going to need is this 1.5 by 4 inches. So we're going to go ahead and get started. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and score, and we'll start with this piece right here. You're going to score this piece. Where's my scoring tool? Here it is. You're going to score this piece right here on the 1.5 inch side, and you're going to score it at 3 4/4, which will basically be right down the center. Then we'll go ahead and score our panels, which we'll score at the 10 inch side, and we're going to score this at the 2. We're going to score this at the 2.5 inch mark. We're going to score it at the 5 inch mark. Oops, the 5 inch mark, and then we're going to score it at 7.5. And again, these are our panels, the same thing that we did last time we created our twist and pop-up. And then we're going to go ahead and score our 3.5 by 8 inch piece on the 3.5 inch side. We're going to score this at 1 3/4. Okay, so now we're going to make our little marks just like we did last time when we created the mechanism. We're going to make our marks at 2 1/4 and 5 3/4. So you're just going to make your little mark 2 1/4 and then 5 3/4, and then rotate it all the way around and make your mark again at 2 1/4 and 5 3/4. Now we're going to make our diagonal X just like we did last time. I did add a little blue line down the center of my scoreboard so that it could help me score this without having to use my scoring, my cutting board. So I'm just going to line up these little marks I made on the blue line, and that'll help me score that perfectly straight. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And this is the exact same thing we did when we made our twist and pop-up panel the last time. The same exact steps. So we're going to burnish just like we did last time. One thing that I found that makes this fold even easier is when you do this fold that goes down the center, fold it this way, fold it towards you, and of course burnish. But when you do your diagonal folds, instead of doing it like this, flip it over and do your diagonal folds on the back, because that already starts to help the paper understand that they're both going to really be kind of going in different directions. So what we did is we folded it this way forward, and then we flipped it over, and then we did our diagonals the other way. Okay? And so then this comes out much easier now. And before I move on, what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase my little marks right here, so that way they don't come up on my card, especially because I'm using white cardstock. So those are gone. And then I'm going to go ahead and do my valley and then my mountain fold on my panel card. Exact same process like we did the last time. We're basically just building an additional mechanism. That's really all we're doing. Okay, so now I have my panels, and I have my little house, right? So now what I want you to do is I want you to get some score tape out, and you're gonna add score tape to your little house, front and back, and then you're also gonna add score tape to this little piece right here. Now I want you to fold it in half on the score line and burnish, but now I want you to add tape right here and right here. So it's the same, it's the back side. You're just gonna add tape to both sides, okay? So go ahead and do that, and let me add mine, and I'll come back in a second. Okay, so I'm back, and I've added my score tape to my little house to the top section of both sides, and then I added my score tape to both sides of this 1.5 by 4 inch piece. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put everything together. So you're going to take your 2 pop-up twist panel pop-up cards, and you're going to put the centers facing towards each other like this, okay? And what we're gonna do, and you're not gonna tape it in place like this, but I just wanna show you how it looks. You're going to take off tape on this side, and you're gonna attach it to this piece right here. You're just gonna line it up so that it's right here on the edge. And then once you've added that one, then you're going to take the tape off and add this piece to this side. So they basically become one piece, okay? So let's go ahead and start by adding it to this side first. And sometimes it's helpful for me to have something on the bottom that's a different color so that it helps me line up my tape or whatever it is that I'm adding, so that it's not, so I don't go over or I don't line it up incorrectly. And I was already going to line it up the wrong way, y'all. So make sure when you add your tape that the fold is on top so that you can tape the other side down like that. And I say tape, but it's really just your cardstock that you've added your score tape to, right? So then make sure you burnish that down. Okay, so now what you're gonna do is you're gonna take this score tape off and you're going to add it to this piece right here, okay? And probably what I'll do is I'll open mine like this and add it like this. So go ahead and take your score tape off and add your second card on top of the first one. And if it's easier for you to work with it like this, that's completely fine. I just want to make sure that it's a little easier for me to work with it like this. Okay, and then you're going to burnish, oops, you're going to burnish that down. Close this up. So now you have your cards connected right here. You have this pop-up, you have this pop-up, but in the center you have this. So what does this look like, y'all? This is actually another card right here, and that's why we just created a mechanism. So now all we're going to do is the same thing we did when we built our original twist and pop-up panel cards. We're just going to add the mechanism in the center. So we're going to measure to the center again, which is 2 inches, just like we've done for the other cards. And you're going to just add just a little dot. And now you're going to add your mechanism right here in the middle, just like we did the last time. Okay, so I'm going to add my little point right at the 2-inch mark, and then I'm going to burnish that down. And now what I'm going to do is the same thing we did the last time we made the card, is we're going to take your score tape off, then you're going to fold over and you're going to burnish down again. Okay, so fold this over. Now I'm going to burnish again. Okay, so now we have finished adding our new mechanism. So you can already see it coming together. Here's the first one. Here's the second one. And now here's the one we just added. Okay, so the last thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to add our panel. And again, we're going to do exactly the same thing that we did when we built our first pop-up panel, first twist pop-up panel card. We're going to go ahead and measure to make sure we center this. And it's going to be on the 2 again. So I'm adding my little mark. And then I'm going to line up my center mountain fold right on my line. And then I'm going to draw right up to the little score line, or make my little mark right next to the score line, right next to the fold. And this is where I'm going to put my tape, just like the same way I did last time. I'm just going to make my little X so that, just in case you forgot, you're going to put your tape there. You're not going to put it up here, just in those 2 little sections. So go ahead and add your score tape. And I like to add the outsides first. So the outer edges of my square first, and then kind of fill in on the inside. So that way I know my outside pieces are covered. And I try to put as much score tape as I can, because this is what's, again, holding our mechanism together. So you really want to make sure that you put a generous amount of tape on there. And then I'm going to burnish it, burnish that side. And now I'm going to go ahead and add my panels. I'm going to line up my score mark again. Now I'm just going to take my tape off. Just making sure I'm lining it up perfectly. The thing about this card is it's such a great card. It's such a kind of wow card. Just the twist pop-up panel. I'm not even talking about the mini album. That's a pretty big wow factor too. But if you don't get the mechanism right, then it won't work properly, or you'll have part of the panel fold. So it's really important to try to make sure that your measurements are all accurate and that you're lining everything up as close as you possibly can, so that way your mechanism works really well. Okay, so now I'm going to just fold that over and burnish both sides. Oops. And now we have our mechanism. So what I have found is that if I push these little sections in up a little bit, it kind of helps the fold start. And now I'm just gonna burnish the whole thing down again. And again, you will be, if you're matting, you'll be covering this, so if you get little bumps, it's okay. If you're using designer paper cardstock for your base, just be careful when you're burnishing so that way you don't get any little bumps. Okay, so our card is now ready, the base structure is. So you have our mini album card. You have your first twist pop-up panel, and then you open up to your next twist pop-up panel, and then you turn it over, and here you have your last one. Ta-da! Very cool, right? So now you can decorate it however you'd like. I am going to be uploading a PDF with all of the designer paper measurements that I did for this one. And this one, of course, I did do a double layer. So I have this little pink layer, and then I have my designer paper layer. So if you want to use those measurements, you can. If you want to just do the first layer, those measurements will be there for you as well. So I hope you enjoyed this project, and stay tuned next week for the 4 twist pop-up panel mini album that I will be doing a tutorial on next week. Thanks.